The discovery. The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, while Dr. Maya Patel was calibrating the new quantum antenna array at the Arecibo Observatory. At first, she dismissed it as another false positive, the kind that had been flooding their systems since the array's installation. But this signal was different. It wasn't random noise or the echo of some distant pulsar. It was structured, intentional, and most remarkably, it contained what appeared to be technical specifications. "This can't be right," Maya muttered, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. The signal wasn't just carrying information, it was carrying complete engineering schematics for what appeared to be a fusion drive system far beyond current human technology. And strangest of all, it was being broadcast on a frequency that any moderately advanced civilization should be monitoring. It took less than 6 hours for the alien message to be detected by every major observatory on Earth. Within 12 hours, the first responses from the scientific community began flooding in. Within 24 hours, the first translations were attempted. But it was Maya's 16-year-old daughter Zora, watching from her makeshift lab in their garage, who first understood the signal's true meaning. "Mom," Zora called out, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and concern. "They're not trying to communicate with us. They're mocking us." Maya looked up from her tablet, where she'd been reviewing the latest analyses. "What do you mean?" "Look at the way they've structured the data," Zora explained, pulling up a three-dimensional visualization of the signal pattern. "They're broadcasting advanced technology on purpose, but they've encoded it in a way that suggests they think we're too primitive to understand it. It's like leaving a calculus textbook in front of a cave painting, expecting the cave people to never figure it out." Maya studied her daughter's analysis, her eyes widening as she recognized the pattern. The aliens hadn't just sent technical specifications, they'd sent them in a format that practically screamed technological superiority. Each layer of the message was encoded with increasing complexity, designed to demonstrate just how far beyond human understanding their technology was supposed to be. But they'd made one critical mistake. They'd assumed that human intelligence followed the same rigid patterns as their own. They hadn't counted on the lateral thinking that had driven human innovation for millennia. And they certainly hadn't counted on Zora Patel, whose neurodivergent mind saw patterns in ways that even other humans found unusual. As governments around the world scrambled to respond to humanity's first contact with alien intelligence, Zora remained focused on the technical specifications hidden within the signal. While others saw an insurmountable technological gap, she saw possibilities. The aliens' fusion drive design was elegant, yes, but it was also predictable. It followed logical progressions that any sufficiently advanced civilization should achieve. But what if there's another way? Zora wondered aloud, sketching out alternative configurations on her tablet. What if we don't need to match their technology to achieve the same results? The first response from Earth's governments was exactly what the aliens had expected. A demonstration of our most advanced technology, carefully packaged and broadcast back into space. The response they received was immediate and devastating. A new transmission, containing specifications for technology so advanced it made their previous message look primitive by comparison. The message was clear. Anything humans could do, they could do better. They had mastered the laws of physics in ways that human science had barely begun to theorize about. Their civilization had likely been spacefaring before humans had invented the wheel. But as Zara studied the new specifications, she began to notice something that others had missed. The aliens' technology was undeniably advanced, but it was also inflexible. Every solution followed the same logical progression, building upon itself in predictable ways. There was no evidence of the kind of innovative leaps that characterized human technological development. "They think in straight lines," Zara explained to her mother late that night. "Every advancement follows directly from the previous one. But humans, we think in zigzags. We make connections that don't make sense until they do. That's not a weakness. It's our strength." Maya watched as her daughter pulled up a new design on her tablet, one that bore little resemblance to the aliens' sophisticated schematics, but somehow achieved the same theoretical results. It was messy, inelegant, and by all conventional metrics, it shouldn't have worked at all. But it did. The aliens had sent their message as a demonstration of superiority, expecting to receive either silence or primitive attempts to replicate their technology. Instead, they were about to learn a fundamental truth about humanity. Sometimes the most powerful solutions come from thinking outside the box entirely. Hidden potential. The next few weeks saw an unprecedented global mobilization of scientific resources. Research facilities around the world worked around the clock to analyze the alien transmissions, while defense agencies prepared for every possible scenario. But in a garage in Puerto Rico, Zora Patel was working on something entirely different. Her approach to the aliens' fusion drive specifications had caught the attention of Dr. James Chen, head of the newly formed Xenotechnology Analysis Division at MIT. Unlike most of his colleagues, who saw only the overwhelming technological gap between human and alien capabilities, Dr. Chen recognized something special in Zora's unconventional thinking. Your daughter's analysis suggests an entirely different approach to achieve similar results, he explained to Maya over a secure video call. While we're trying to climb the same technological ladder as the aliens, she's suggesting we build an elevator instead. Zora's design was, by conventional standards, impossible. It ignored several supposedly fundamental principles of physics, or rather, it approached them from such an unusual angle that it appeared to ignore them. But when Dr. Chen's team ran the simulations, the results were undeniable. It's like she's found a shortcut, one of his researchers commented, staring at the results in disbelief. The aliens are using brute force to overcome the laws of physics, but this works with them instead. The breakthrough came when Zora realized that the aliens' technology was based on a fundamental assumption about the nature of spacetime, an assumption that human physicists had been questioning for years. While the aliens had developed increasingly powerful ways to force their way through the fabric of spacetime, Zora's design suggested a way to work with its natural properties instead. Think of it like swimming, Zora explained to a room full of skeptical scientists. The aliens built the equivalent of a powerful motor to push through water. But what if we could move like a fish instead, using the currents and flows that already exist? The idea was revolutionary and completely untestable with current human technology. Or so everyone thought, until Zora pointed out another pattern in the alien transmissions. Hidden within their demonstrations of superior technology was something they clearly hadn't intended to reveal: the basic principles of their manufacturing processes. They're so confident in their superiority that they didn't bother to hide it, Zora explained, highlighting patterns in the data that everyone else had missed. They included their manufacturing specifications as part of the demonstration, probably to show how far beyond our capabilities they are. But they didn't account for human ingenuity. While the aliens' manufacturing methods required materials and energy levels far beyond Earth's current capabilities, Zora's analysis suggested alternative approaches that could achieve similar results with existing technology. It wasn't elegant, and it certainly wasn't the way the aliens would do it, but it might just work. Dr. Chen's team began work on a prototype immediately, while other research centers around the world continued their more conventional approaches. The aliens, meanwhile, continued their transmissions, each one more sophisticated than the last, each one designed to emphasize the gap between their civilization and ours. But they were about to learn that technological sophistication and intelligence weren't necessarily the same thing. Humanity had spent its entire history finding creative solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Now, faced with the greatest technological challenge in human history, that creativity was about to prove its worth. The challenge. 3 months after the initial contact, the aliens finally revealed themselves. Massive ships appeared in Earth's orbit, their design as mathematically perfect as their transmissions had suggested. They were beautiful in their precision, each curve and angle calculated to achieve maximum efficiency with minimal waste. Their message was simple: you have received our teachings, now demonstrate your understanding, or be deemed unworthy of further existence. The ultimatum sent governments worldwide into panic. Military leaders pushed for aggressive responses, while diplomats attempted to negotiate. But the aliens remained unmoved. They had set a challenge. Earth had 1 month to demonstrate technology matching their specifications, or they would remove an evolutionary dead end. While most of the world's scientific community focused on replicating the aliens' technology as closely as possible, Zara's team took a different approach. Their prototype, dubbed Project Butterfly, looked nothing like the sleek alien vessels. Its design was asymmetrical, its power systems seemingly chaotic, and its very existence seemed to defy conventional physics. "It looks wrong," one of the military observers commented during the first test. "How can something so messy possibly work?" Dr. Chen smiled. "That's exactly the point. The aliens expect us to think like them, to follow their logical progression. But we're doing something they've never seen before." The prototype's first test flight was a disaster. At least it appeared to be to the alien observers. The ship's movements seemed erratic, its energy readings inconsistent. The aliens' transmitted response was immediate and dismissive. "Your primitive attempt demonstrates your inability to comprehend even basic principles." But Zara was grinning. "They don't understand what they're seeing," she explained to her mother. "They're so focused on their way of doing things that they can't recognize a different approach, even when it's right in front of them." Breaking convention. The final week before the aliens' deadline saw Project Butterfly make its first real flight. The ship didn't cut through space like the alien vessels. Instead, it seemed to flow through it, its unusual design taking advantage of natural spatial phenomena that the aliens' brute force approach simply ignored. Zara's team had discovered that space-time wasn't the rigid mathematical construct the aliens assumed it to be. It was more like a fabric with its own patterns and flows, and their ship was designed to work with these natural properties rather than against them. "It's like the difference between building a dam and designing a water wheel," Zara explained to the International Committee. "The aliens' approach requires enormous energy to force their way through space. We're letting space itself do most of the work." The alien observers were clearly confused by the readings they were getting from Project Butterfly. Their transmissions became more frequent, demanding explanations for what they were seeing. How could such a primitive civilization achieve similar results with clearly inferior technology? But the real breakthrough came when one of Zara's junior engineers made what should have been a catastrophic mistake during a test flight. Instead of following the carefully planned test sequence, they accidentally activated multiple systems simultaneously in a way that should have torn the ship apart. Instead, something remarkable happened. The ship's seemingly chaotic systems synchronized in a way that no one, not even Zara, had predicted. It achieved faster-than-light travel not through brute force, but through a kind of resonance with the fabric of space itself. Humanity's response. On the final day of the aliens' deadline, Earth made its demonstration. Project Butterfly took off from its launch pad, its unconventional design drawing dismissive reactions from the alien fleet. But as the ship began to move, something happened that the aliens had never seen before. Instead of forcing its way through space-time, the ship seemed to dance with it. It achieved faster-than-light travel not by overwhelming physical laws, but by working in harmony with them. The energy readings were a fraction of what the alien ships required, yet the results were undeniable. The alien response was immediate, but not in the way anyone expected. Their perfect formations broke apart as ships rushed to gather readings, their transmissions filled with what could only be described as scientific panic. They had encountered something they had never seen before, a completely different way of thinking about space travel. "Your approach is inefficient," their transmission stated. "Unpredictable. Chaotic." There was a pause before they continued. "And entirely unprecedented. We require further understanding." It was perhaps the first time in their civilization's history that they had encountered a solution that didn't follow their logical progression. Humanity hadn't just passed their test. We had fundamentally challenged their understanding of what was possible. In the months that followed, an unprecedented exchange of knowledge began. The aliens learned about human creativity and our ability to find unexpected solutions, while humanity gained access to their advanced technology. But more importantly, both civilizations began to understand that true progress comes not from following a single path, but from being open to new possibilities. Zara Patel became Earth's youngest ambassador to the Alien Scientific Council, where she continued to challenge conventional thinking with her unique perspective. Project Butterfly became the foundation for a new era of space exploration, one that combined alien precision with human creativity. And somewhere in the vast database of alien knowledge, a new theorem was added: the Patel principle, the understanding that intelligence can manifest in ways that defy conventional logic, and that the most elegant solution isn't always the most obvious one. The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find a primitive civilization worthy only of elimination. Instead, they found something far more valuable: a reminder that there is always another way to solve a problem, if only you're willing to think differently enough to find it.